So this movie called Sully is coming out on September 9th this year. It stars Tom Hanks. It's based on the U.S. Airways Flight 1549 that crashed or emergency landed in the Hudson River in 2009. So I've been covering some other plane stories. I meant to cover this one a while back, and who knows why I didn't, but the other night I finally looked more into it. I've been talking about how every plane story, every plane crash, it's coded to the Freemasons, also to the royal family. This one is absolutely no different than the rest. I didn't cover as much as I should have in this story, but the reason that I did cover it is basically because this movie's coming out, and I'm trying to figure out what the purpose of the movie is to come out now in 2016 when this happened in 2009. Tom Hanks is in a ton of very coded movies, the Da Vinci Code. He's even in the movie Castaway, where they wreck on the flight going to Malaysia, right? And we get the missing Malaysian airline. We've had all these missing airline stories since Obama's been the president. If you notice, this flight ended up wrecking 5 days before Obama became the president. And now this movie's coming out, just months before Obama is leaving the office. And I wonder if it has something to do with that, for the fact that this movie's coming out 133 days before, the new president takes office on January 20th. 133, the word White House equals 123, government, or 133, government equals 133. It's also a span of 4 months and 11 days. The word assassin equals 411. We've talked a lot about coding to political assassinations and whatnot. JFK was even shot on 411 Elm Street. So possibly the reason this movie's coming out on that date, or coming out this year even. Anyway, let's look at some of the gematria here then. So U.S. Airways Flight 1549. I know a lot of people call it 1549, but the actual number 1,549. If you write out flight 1,549, it equals 197, just like the word prince in Jewish gematria. It's also referred to as miracle on the Hudson, that equals 87. Queen Elizabeth II in gematria equals 87. If you just write 1549, it equals 191, just like the word, if you write out House of Windsor, and Queen Elizabeth will be the last royal person in the House of Windsor, because it's supposed to change when she dies to the House of Mountbatten Windsor. Also, the Society of Jesus equals 191. That's the Jesuits, who are in connection with the Freemasons. I pointed that out in a few videos back or something. So just wanted to point that out, the 191 connection. If you read out flight 1549, it equals 253, just like if you read out Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, which I've talked about how so much stuff goes back to Philadelphia. Philadelphia is where the Fresh Prince is from. Tom Hanks even in the movie Philadelphia. So also 9/9, a very special day in regards to Queen Elizabeth. Last year on 9/9, she became the longest reigning British English monarch of all time. She surpassed Queen Victoria. If you write out September 9th, it equals 168, just like Queen Elizabeth II, the big way. So perfect day for her to have a special day. She surpassed Victoria on that day, but Victoria, when she became the longest monarch, she surpassed George III, and she did it on a date, I can't remember the year, but it was on 9/22, which on the Gregorian calendar, 9/22 is the same as 9/9 on the Julian calendar. 9/22, also the day that George III was coronated. Last year, it was Pope Francis's 923rd day as Pope. It was the first day that he arrived in the United States. He went to the White House the very next day on 9/23 at 9:23 in the morning. When he finished his trip in the United States, he was in Philadelphia, and he left from Philadelphia on September 28th. And he also gave a speech using Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Lectern. Remember, Abraham Lincoln was even murdered with a Philadelphia Derringer. That was the type of gun. And I mention that in regards to 99 once again, because 99 seems to be a special number connected to a possible assassination of the next president, whoever it's going to be, either possibly Obama, but the first president to die in office was the 9th president, and the next president to die in office will be the 9th president to do so. Interestingly enough, Obama is 9 presidents after JFK, who was the last assassinated president, or the last one to die in office. Last year, when the Charleston church shooting happened, Obama sang Amazing Grace at Clementa Pinckney's funeral. It was 9 days after 9 people were shot. 9 months and 9 days after that just so happened to be April 4th, 4-4, a number that is definitely connected to assassination and death. Kill equals 44. The first president to die in office, William Henry Harrison, he died on 4-4. Martin Luther King Jr. died on 4-4. If you write out 44, it equals 144. Abraham Lincoln had a dream 10 days before he was shot that he would die on April 4th. So 10 days later was 14/4. 10 days later in Gematria it equals 144. Just lots of connections to 99 and 44. Even if you write out 99, 99 equals 129, and the word America in Jewish Gematria equals 129. So I guess I just wanted to point out some 99 connections in regards to this movie coming out on that day. In regards to Philadelphia then, Philadelphia equals 101, Tom Hanks equals 101, and that's where the Fresh Prince comes from. The Fresh Prince comes from West Philadelphia. West Philadelphia equals 168 in Gematria. Queen Elizabeth II equals 168. So anyway, in regards to Freemasonry, this plane wreck happens on January 15th of 2009, 115. If you write out Scottish Rite Freemasonry, it equals 115. This plane wreck also happened 96 days before Queen Elizabeth's 83rd birthday, which is interesting. 96, the word Freemason equals 96. The plane crashed leaving New York City, and it was going to Charlotte, and it had a final destination of Seattle. Charlotte, I've talked about a whole lot. Charlotte is the feminine form of Charles. Prince Charles will become King Charles if Queen Elizabeth dies and whatnot. It was leaving New York City. New York City in Gematria equals 168, just like Queen Elizabeth II. Also in regards to Charlotte, it's in the Carolinas. It's in North Carolina, and the Carolinas are actually named after King Charles I, who was the king during the English Civil War. The airport in New York, called LaGuardia, equals 74, like the word Masonic. Also 38 the small way, like Prince. Sully Sullenberger equals 74. The plane crashes on 74 degrees west. The reason that it crashed, or emergency landed, was because it hit birds. It said that it was Canada geese. Canada geese in Gematria equals 65 and 38. The word Prince equals 65, 38. Philadelphia also equals 65, just pointing that out. And, you know, the plane's final destination, going to Seattle, reminds me a lot of the 1993 movie called Sleepless in Seattle with Tom Hanks. 1993, he also was in the movie Philadelphia. So interesting, because in the movie Sleepless in Seattle, the whole point of the movie is about meeting Meg Ryan's character at the Empire State Building that's in New York. If you write out Sleepless in Seattle, it equals 217, just like if you write out Sully Sullenberger's name, Chesley B. Sullenberger. And that sticks out a whole lot in regards to Prince and Charlotte, because it was going to Charlotte. Michael Jordan, the owner of the Charlotte Hornets, but his birthday just so happens to be on 2/17, February 17th. He even played college basketball at North Carolina. Like I said, the Carolinas, named after King Charles. Prince Charles was born on 11/14 of 48. 2/17 is the 48th day of the year. King Charles I died at the age of 48. If you write out Charles II, it equals 48. The 48th prime number is 223, which Masonic and Jewish Gematria equals 223. Emergency water landing, which it did, equals 223. Also, it was going then to Seattle, Washington, that equals 212, just like Charles, Prince of Wales, that equals 212. And there's been so much coding in regards to Prince Charles this year. It seems like every event in the past year has been coded to Prince Charles. Whether he's going to die or become the new king, I'm not sure. But even the College World Series, Coastal Carolina, Villanova beat North Carolina. Villanova, the Philadelphia team. The Carolina Panthers lost in the Super Bowl. Alabama even beat Clemson in the football championship last year. Clemson's from South Carolina. Lots and lots of coding to Prince Charles, especially in regards to sports, but it's been other things as well. Anyway, in regards to all the 48s that I mentioned up here, it even says that the plane landed in the Hudson River between New York City near 48th Street and Weehawken, New Jersey. So just another 48. I want to point out that Donald Trump also equals 48 in Gematria. The big way he equals 138, just like Sullenberger. Tom Hanks' full name, Thomas Jeffrey Hanks, equals 204 in Gematria. Just like if you write out Miracle on the Hudson the big way, it equals 204. And like I said, this guy is in all kinds of just super coded movies. I've even talked about the death of Prince the singer in regards to a moon theme and whatnot. I know Apollo 13 isn't necessarily the moon theme with Neil Armstrong and whatnot. Still interesting he's in that movie. You got Philadelphia, Captain Phillips, Saving Mr. Banks, I believe, isn't he Walt Disney in that movie? Walt Disney, a huge Freemason. They put, symbolism in all kinds of their cartoons and everything else. So just wanted to point it out, this guy in a ton of movies, a ton of Masonic coding. The one that really sticks out, though, and I've talked about it before, is Castaway, where he leaves Memphis, which actually comes from the book of Revelation, or it comes from the Bible. Philadelphia comes from the book of Revelation, but Castaway, he leaves Memphis, and the plane crashes on its way to Malaysia. And on that plane, the plane is the FedEx 88. Right before it goes down, he says, Eric is next. I've been trying to figure out what that means, or if it means anything, but they say it very quick at the very end, right before the plane crashes. Eric is next. Eric is next in Gematria equals 126 and 54. Numbers that I've seen a whole lot this year, but I haven't really been able to piece it all together. New Orleans equals 126 and 54. There's been a lot of stuff in regards to Louisiana and New Orleans, so maybe it's possibly something to do with that. I don't know. This movie came out how long ago? If you just write Eric, Eric equals 97, just like the word Barack. So maybe it's something to do with Barack Obama. I really don't know, but just pointing out a few other things. So this movie, Castaway, was basically the inspiration for the TV show called Lost with the missing airplane. As well, Lost equals 66, Charles equals 66. If you write out FedEx 88, it equals 95 and 167. Prince Charles of Wales, the small way, equals 95. This plane, 1549, crashed in Weehawken, that equals 95. The 167th prime, or 167 is the 39th prime. Charles equals 39 the small way. Charlotte equals 39. If you go from the day that this movie Sully is supposed to come out to Prince Charles's 68th birthday, a span of 66 days even. So just interesting. Charles equals 66. 66 days before his birthday. The word Hanks in Jewish Gematria equals 318. Prince Charles was born on the 318th day of the year. His ex-wife Diana died on 31/8. February 17th that I talked about earlier, it's the day that leaves 318 days in the year during a leap year that we're in. Also, Michael Jordan came out of retirement saying, "I'm back," that equals 39, and he did it on 3/18. "I'm back" in Jewish Gematria equals 55, just like the word Diana, which may be nothing, but I find it interesting. Diana is the moon goddess, and there's been lots of moon symbolism I've seen this year. Like I said, Prince the singer died on the night of a full moon. Moon equals 57. He died at the age of 57. I even think of Michael Jackson when I think of it. If you write out Michael Jackson's full name, Michael Joseph Jackson, it equals 197. Prince equals 197. Michael Jackson, the Moonwalker. I feel like there's something connected to Princess Diana and whatnot. Lots of symbolism to her. A few other things in the story then. So it said the plane ended its 6-minute flight at 3:31 with an unpowered ditching, blah, blah, blah. So it was a 6-minute flight. If you write out 6 minutes, it equals 153. The plane ended in the Hudson River, that equals 153. Also, the 3:31 time, it's the mirror of 133, like government, like White House. And a big deal after this crash was, it was right before Obama came to office, and he invited Sully and whatnot to the White House, all kinds of stuff. So who knows if that has anything to do with it, the time being 3:31. I'll actually show the video, the only video that they have of this, supposedly. I just want to show it really quick because, 2009 and the best footage that they can come up with for this plane crashing in the Hudson is this right here. And maybe there's some other footage out there that I couldn't find, but this is literally the only raw video that I could find. And I mean, just look at it. It's so far away and like terrible image. That right there is literally the only video footage they could come up with to show us. It makes it seem like it's completely fake, Especially when they give us fake footage constantly. And I mean, it is absolutely obvious fake footage. Like, or it was filmed multiple times, like the Alton Sterling shooting. Absolutely doesn't make any sense. It doesn't add up. The two camera angles makes no sense whatsoever. But let's finish this out here. So Chesley Sullenberger without his middle name equals 89. Sully equals 89. 89, I talked about in my Flight 232 video. 89 seems to be a very special number in regards to Queen Elizabeth. For whatever the reason, it was her 37th year of being the queen, and there's a whole lot of 37 in connection with her, and also George Bush, who was the president in 1989. I also talked about Taylor Swift and her 89 album, and last year at the VMAs, they even called her the Queen of the VMAs. A ton of other 89s around her, but Taylor Swift even equals 168, just like Queen Elizabeth II. Beyonce Knowles equals 168. I mean, think about their stuff with Kanye West. Lastly, LaGuardia Airport equals 81. Hudson equals 81. And it makes me think of the missing Malaysian airline just because of Tom Hanks and whatnot. Malaysia equals 81. So who knows? I think that this story, or the reason that this movie is coming out, it has a lot to do with Obama leaving the office and we're getting in the new president. Just how this happened right when George Bush was leaving and Obama was taking office. Also, the 9/9 date is connected to the royal family, like many of the plane crashes. But it's also connected to the political assassinations, which I think it has something definite to do with. And of course, connected to Freemasonry, connected to the royal family, like I've said in every other deal that I've talked about. But, we'll see what happens. Definite coded story like the rest. Have a good one.